Be me, 22, living in a mid-sized city. Just started my first real job at a marketing firm. Office is maybe 30 people. Half women, half men. Thought it was going to be a normal workplace. Narrator. It was not going to be a normal workplace. First week, meet my team lead. Her name is Sandra. Late 30s, sharp, runs the department like a machine. She knows everything about everything. I am immediately intimidated. She is not impressed by me at all. Assigns me the coffee run on day 1. I think nothing of it. Week 2, new guy also starts. His name is Derek. Derek has the same title as me, same credentials, same starting date. Sandra does not assign Derek the coffee run. Derek gets put on the Hartfield account immediately, the big client. I'm still doing coffee runs. I ask Sandra why. She says Derek has more presence. I nod like I understand. I do not understand. Start paying attention to how things work around here. Derek talks louder in meetings. Derek interrupts people. Derek gets called assertive in feedback. I try talking louder. Sandra tells me I seem aggressive. I stare at my monitor for a long time. Lunch with coworker named Priya. She has been here 3 years. She laughs when I tell her about the coffee situation. Not a kind laugh. A tired laugh. She says she did coffee runs for 8 months. Says the last guy who started lasted 2 weeks before getting a real project. He was a guy named Tom. Tom had natural leadership energy. Tom got fired 4 months later for losing the Brixton account. I sit with that for a while, start noticing more things. The women in the office eat lunch together, not because they want to. Because no one invites them to the table where the men eat, not literal tables. Metaphor. Also sometimes literal tables. There's one conference room nobody calls by its actual name. Everyone calls it the boys' room. It is not a bathroom. It is where Derek and the senior guys eat lunch and play games on their phones. Women do not go in there, not because of a rule, because of a feeling. I start eating lunch with Priya and her friends. Derek notices. Derek says, "Going native, buddy." I laugh awkwardly. I hate that I laugh awkwardly. Month 2, big project comes up. Entire team pitches ideas. Priya has the best idea. She presents it clearly and with data. Room is quiet for a second. Derek says, "Yeah, that is sort of what I was thinking." Derek rephrases her idea with slightly different words. Sandra nods at Derek. Sandra says, "Derek, can you lead on that?" Priya's face does not move. After the meeting, I ask Priya if she noticed. She says, "Of course I noticed." She says, "I always notice." She says, "Noticing does not help." I ask her why she does not say something. She gives me the tired laugh again. Says the last time she said something she was called difficult. Says difficult women do not get promoted. Says she has a mortgage. I think about that word, difficult. Derek is never called difficult. Derek is called direct. I write this in my notes app. I do not know why I write it. It just feels important. Month 3. Company happy hour. Everyone is supposed to bond. Free drinks, free appetizers. I am genuinely trying to have a good time. Derek gets loud. Derek starts telling a story about his ex-girlfriend. Story involves words I will not repeat. Guys at the table laugh. I do a small smile. I hate myself for doing the small smile. Priya and the other women leave early. Sandra stays. Sandra laughs at Derek's story. I watch Sandra laugh. I try to understand what I am watching. Later I ask Priya about Sandra. Why Sandra seems to support the exact system that keeps Priya down. Priya is quiet for a second. She says Sandra had to become one of them to survive. She says Sandra spent 15 years building walls that look like doors. I do not fully understand this. But I also kind of do. Month 4, performance reviews. I get a decent review, called collaborative and shows promise. Derek gets called a natural leader with executive presence. We have done essentially the same work. Derek lost 2 clients. I did not lose any clients. I ask Sandra about the discrepancy. She says Derek has gravitas. I look up gravitas. It means seriousness and importance of manner. I watch Derek spend 20 minutes talking about a sports team. I update my understanding of gravitas. Month 5. New hire arrives. Her name is Jasmine. She is brilliant. Like visibly, undeniably brilliant. Presents her first idea, and the room goes quiet in the good way. Derek says, interesting concept, maybe a bit too out there. Sandra says, let us table it for now. They do not table Derek's ideas. Derek's ideas get whiteboards and budget discussions. I start speaking up in meetings when someone's idea gets buried. Say things like, I think Priya's point deserves more discussion. Say things like, Jasmine, can you expand on that? Derek starts giving me a look. The look says, whose side are you on? I did not know there were sides. Now I know there are sides. Month 6, big client meeting, entire team presents, Jasmine kills it. Client specifically compliments her work. Sandra thanks the whole team equally, does not single Jasmine out. Derek gets singled out for the slide deck. Jasmine designed the slide deck. Derek put his name on the file. I watched Jasmine's expression during this. She does not look surprised. She looks like someone who expected exactly this, and got exactly this, and is already thinking about next time. I pull Derek aside after, tell him that was Jasmine's slide deck. Derek says, teams share credit. I say you got individual credit. Derek says, look man, that is just how it works. I ask him how it works. He does not have an answer. He just looks at me like I asked a dumb question. Start doing small things. Emailing credit where it belongs. Saying names in meetings when presenting work. Keeping records. Not in a dramatic way, just in a consistent way. Priya notices. Says you are going to make enemies. I say I already have one. His name is Derek. She laughs. Not the tired laugh this time. A different one. Month 7. Big drama. One of the senior guys, Marcus, makes a comment to Jasmine. Comment is about her appearance. During a work presentation, out loud, in front of people. Jasmine freezes for 1 second, then continues her presentation. Marcus laughs at his own comment. 2 guys laugh with him. 2 people look at the floor. I look at Marcus. I say, that was not appropriate. Room gets very quiet. Marcus looks at me like I grew a second head. Sandra looks uncomfortable. Derek looks annoyed. Jasmine finishes her presentation. Afterwards, she finds me in the break room. Says, thank you. Says it quietly. Says she has never had someone say something out loud before. I do not feel like a hero. I feel like I did the minimum thing, which is a depressing thing to realize. Marcus pulls me aside later, says, you embarrass me in there. I say, you made a comment about a colleague's appearance during her work presentation. Marcus says, it was a compliment. I say, she did not look complimented. Marcus walks away. Tells me I'm too sensitive. I add sensitive to my list next to difficult. Month 8. Internal review happens. Someone reported the Marcus incident, not Jasmine, anonymous. HR gets involved. Marcus gets a conversation, not a warning, a conversation. Marcus comes back from HR looking annoyed but fine. Business as usual. Jasmine watches all of this from her desk. I ask the HR person what happens next. She says it is being monitored. I ask what that means. She says she cannot share details. I ask if Jasmine is being supported. HR person looks at me like this is a very unusual question. Month 9, company retreat, team building exercises, ropes course, trust falls, that kind of thing, meant to build camaraderie. It mostly builds resentment. During one exercise, we have to solve a problem as a group. Jasmine immediately sees the solution. Explains it clearly. Derek says, wait, let me think about this. Derek thinks for 4 minutes, arrives at the same solution. Group leader congratulates Derek for great critical thinking. I watch Jasmine's face during this. She is staring at a tree. She has the expression of someone doing math, probably calculating how many more times this will happen. Probably the answer is a lot. Evening of the retreat, people drinking around a fire. Talk gets real. Priya says she has sent out job applications. Says she has been here 3 years. Got passed over twice for promotion. Both times the job went to someone with less experience. Both times that someone was a man. Sandra hears this. Sandra says, the industry is changing. Priya says, it has been changing my entire career. Sandra does not respond. She just looks into the fire. Derek says, I mean, maybe you are just not ready. Everyone goes quiet. I watch Priya decide whether to engage. She decides not to. She says, maybe, and drinks her drink. I can see on her face it cost her something to say maybe. Later that night, Priya and I walk back to the cabins. I ask her why she did not respond to Derek. She says, because I would have lost. I say, you had facts on your side? She says, facts are not the game being played. I ask her what game is being played. She says, the one where whoever controls the narrative wins. She says Derek would have called her emotional. She says Sandra would have backed Derek up. She says she would have been the difficult woman again. And Derek would have had another story about his difficult female coworker. I say that is a rigged game. She says, yes. I say, so what do? She says, you either change the rules or you leave. She says she is thinking about leaving. Month 10, Priya gets a job offer, different company. 15% more money, actual seniority, she tells me over lunch. I congratulate her. I also feel something that is not quite sadness, but is close to it. She gives 2 weeks' notice. Sandra has a going-away lunch for her. Sandra says Priya was such a great team player. Priya smiles and says thank you. I watch Priya smile and say thank you. I think about everything she told me. I think about 3 years. I think about twice passed over. I think about the word player as opposed to leader. Priya leaves. New person joins the team, a man named Greg. Greg is immediately assigned to the Hartfield account. Greg has 6 months less experience than Priya had when she left. The circle continues. Month 11. I start paying attention differently now. Not just noticing things, thinking about why the things are, thinking about who benefits from the things. Derek benefits, Marcus benefits, Greg will benefit. The structure benefits those who built the structure. And the structure was built by people who look like Derek. I do not hate Derek. Derek is just a person. Derek did not build the structure. Derek just never had to notice it, because it was built for him. This is a thought that takes me a while to arrive at. It does not feel good when I arrive there. It feels like the lights coming on in a room, and you can see what is actually in the room. And it is a mess. Month 12. Performance reviews again. I get collaborative again, also dependable, also not a natural leader. Derek gets promoted. Greg gets the account I have been building for 4 months. I sit in the review and nod. I say, thank you for the feedback. I do not say the things I am thinking. I understand now why Priya calculated before speaking. I understand now why Jasmine stared at the tree. I ask Sandra what I need to do to be seen as a leader. She says I need to take up more space. I think about what taking up space has cost Priya. I think about what not taking up space has cost Jasmine. I think about what taking up space has cost nothing for Derek. I ask Sandra if the bar is the same for everyone. She pauses. She says, of course. She says it the way you say something you have rehearsed, not the way you say something you believe. After the review, I sit in the parking lot for a while. I think about this year. I think about Derek and Marcus and Greg. I think about Priya and Jasmine and Sandra. I think about the coffee runs and the tabled ideas and the slide deck. I think about difficult and sensitive. I think about gravitas and presence and natural leadership. I think about how many of those words are just permission. Permission to take what was already being saved for you. I do not have a clean answer. I do not have a solution. I just have a year of watching. And a notes app full of observations. And a growing suspicion that the game Priya described is running in every office in every city. All the time. I go back inside. Derek is telling a loud story. Everyone is laughing. I get a coffee. I sit down. I open my laptop. I update my resume. Be me, 23 now, slightly less naive. Not sure that is enough. But it is something.